Hello everybody and welcome back to another Vintage Thursday. So today we are doing something a little bit different. As you can see behind, we have a tractor. This is a Massey Ferguson 35X. Okay, so this is the next development on between the standard 35, a 135. But the 35X, for some reason, seems to have kind of gained a bit of a reputation as the 35 to have. You know, I don't have production figures on them, but they were less than a standard 35, less build numbers than a standard 35, and they are now very popular as a collector's item. But do not worry, I haven't bought it. So this is not my tractor. This belongs in the village to a committee in the village, and it is used very, very sparingly for just a little bit of maintenance work on a field where cricket gets played. So its main role is it does a lot of rolling of the cricket pitch. Whether it does any mowing, I'm not actually sure, but rolling is its main kind of occupation, which is a bit of a steady plodding on job, so it doesn't do very much work, hardly any in fact. Anyway, I was approached by the committee. Would I give it a service for them? Basically, oil filter change, and just keep it up together. So I went to collect it a few weeks back, and the man from the cricket club was there, and he said, "Oh, it doesn't start on the key, mind. You've got to fiddle the short across the starter motor to get it to start." So I obviously had a key with me, got on the seat, and it started straight away off the key. The problem they were having, they didn't realise on a 35 or on any Massey Ferguson tractor, right from the T20 to modern day stuff, none of them tractors will start in gear. And so when they introduced the 35 with the two gear levers, so your main gear stick has to be in neutral, and they put on the short gear stick the 3 positions. So that's high range, low range at the top, and the middle is a neutral start position. The cricket club didn't know that, so for years they've been shorting across the starter because they think there's an issue somewhere. But the issue was in this area just here, on the seat. So hopefully, when it goes back, they're going to need a little bit of training to actually start the thing. So I went there, collected it, and immediately a problem became apparent. This is a very, very poor runner. We'll start it in a minute. It doesn't sound good. There's clearly an issue somewhere, and it is not a good starter from cold, which for these engines, the Perkins 3-cylinder engine, you've kind of just got to look at the key and they'll start. But we'll show in a minute, this one is very, very poor. It's probably low on compression, and the rough running, which we'll hear in a minute, I'm kind of thinking, I've sent videos of it running to people that know more than me, and my own opinion is it's either valves out of adjustment, and it might be just the tappets need doing, it could be the valve seats need looking at, maybe just lap them in, or it could be a dodgy injector. And so those were the suggestions that came back to me. People that know what they're listening to said, check that out. Oil pressure is okay when it's cold. It's not the best when it's hot, but the oil could well be, but I have no idea on the history or what oil is in there, so we're going to change the oil in due course, and hopefully fresh oil will bring the oil pressure hot, bring the oil pressure up when it is hot. And then obviously we'll do filters. We're going to probably change the antifreeze as well, because who knows when that was done. So we'll just have a quick look round. It's pretty straight. It is on very, very, very worn out tyres, but I guess if you're on a cricket pitch, that's probably what they want. So it's pretty straight. The tin work is actually very good. It's clearly had a load on at some point to have the lights on top of the bonnet. Other than that, it's fairly straight. It's missing its air intake, but that's not a problem. Got the drawbar, and there is a little bit of rust in the wings, but it's nothing drastic, and it's certainly for what the for what it gets used for, it is in, you know, pretty good condition to look at, but mechanically it needs some work. So the first thing we're going to do, it needs a wash. It hasn't been washed since I don't know when, and if we're going to go fiddling with filters in the fuel system, we've got to get that dirt off. It's going to make it look a bit nicer anyway. So what I'm going to do, so we'll connect the battery back up. We'll do first off, just happen to have my own 35. So this is a standard 35, not an X, a little bit older. So this one is 1961 and the Cricket Club one is 1963. For comparison, we'll just do a start on this, basically because it's in the way, so I want to get it out to wash it. And then we will start this one, and you will see immediately it's not a good starter from cold, and you will listen, you will hear the poor running of it. Get a spanner, connect up the battery, and see if she's going to start. Today is middle of June, it is warm, it ought to start with half a turn, and it should be running. That one will. We'll demonstrate in a minute. This is my 35, this is the one with a good engine. Starting demonstration. Okay, so we've got oil. Just put the battery back on, or connect the battery up, the battery's still there. Let's go for the start. Oh, gotta get a cushion, there's no cushion. See how bad it is. So there we go, you can see the plain difference in the starting of them, and hopefully you can hear it don't sound right. So what we'll do now, I'm just going to give the whole thing a good clean before we start taking bits off, and then we'll do some investigating before we dig in too deep. You know, there's things we can look at before we actually take it apart. Right, so here we are, all nice and clean and shiny again now. I might have to say it does look a lot better. So what we're going to do, we are going to try and find which cylinder is causing the issue. So the plan is, I'm going to start it up, let it run, let it warm up for a minute, let it kind of settle down because it's worse when it's cold. So I'm going to let it settle down a little bit. What I'm going to try doing is in turn cracking off each injector pipe, and my hope is that will help us identify which cylinder is causing the issue. And whether it'll work or not, I don't know, we're going to find out. But that's the plan. Okay, so now that I've actually washed the tractor off, you can see on the back injector number 3, it is actually, the camera might not see it, but it's bubbling around here. It's looking suspiciously light so far. It is that back injector. I'm going to carry on and crack them off anyway, see what happens. Right, so as you heard, when I cracked each injector off, it did die off, so they are all firing. You know, there was a noticeable change in the noise when that particular cylinder I was undoing stopped working, but I don't like that bubbling on the back one. So what we're going to do, take the bonnet off, take the tank off. We can't get an injector out without taking the tank off. So we're going to take it apart a little bit, pull that last injector out, or number 3. There's something wrong there, whether it's a seal and washer gone, allowing that to bubble, and we're losing compression, but something is wrong somewhere. We shouldn't be seeing those little bubbles, but I could see, and when we take it apart, we'll point it out a bit closer when we can actually see what we're looking at. But not only was it bubbling around the cylinder head where the injector drops in, it was bubbling part way around the injector as well. So let's take it apart and see what we've got. Okay, so here we have a bit of a better view now. The tank's all out the way. So this is the injector that was leaking. So what we're going to do, we've got to undo the leak off pipe, feed pipe, and the 2 nuts, and we'll pull that injector out. There he goes. The washer on the end. Okay. Okay, so here is our injector. Now what I was saying earlier on, I could see it, before we took the tank off, I could see it bubbling. One lot of bubbles was coming up around here, which is coming up past the hole in the cylinder head. Second lot of bubbling was around that screw thread. Okay, so what I have here is a reconditioned injector, exactly the same. So we'll put this one in, fingers crossed, it will cure our problem. Now I know I'm going to get comments saying, why are you just putting one in? Why don't you should be doing the whole set? Don't forget, this is not my tractor. This is something we're doing to help out a local organisation. We're keeping the cost down as much as we can. So I've done a bit of investigation. I was looking at sending away the injectors. I could get some service exchange ones for £53 per injector, which means I send off this faulty, or I send off the faulty set of injectors in the post to the company, and they send me back a full set of reconditioned ones. Not necessarily my same ones, but you know, exactly the same. They would have some on the shelf. Take mine in, send me out some fresh ones straight away, and then these injectors would be serviced for the next customer. But what I've done, I found on eBay a single one, reconditioned, £40 delivered to me. So we're going to try and save a little bit of money on just put the one in. It might not work out, who knows, but we're going to find out. Okay, so here is our new injector, and what I've done, just put the slightest smear of grease around here so that our new sealing washer will stick to it and it won't fall off when we put it in the hole. Okay, so I've cleaned the hole out as best I can just to make sure we get a good seal around the washer. There he goes. Right, so we've got a temporary fuel supply fitted up. We think we might have just discovered the lift pump doesn't actually pump, so we might not start, but we're going to give it a go, see if we can get it running, just to see if we fix any problems. Well, there we go. We are running very, very slightly better. It's still not right. We have cured the leak around the injector, so that's good. So next thing we're going to check, we're going to take off the rocker cover, have a look in there and make sure the valves are set correctly. That's the next thing to look at, the next cheapest thing to look at. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to let it cool down overnight. I'm going to come back tomorrow and try a proper cold start. See if it was better than when we started it first thing this evening. We'll come back and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Right, so we are back again for another go on 35X. So I did a cold start this morning. It's July, so we can't do a proper cold start, but starting from cold is what I mean. And it was worse than it was yesterday. So what we're going to do, and I also noticed something I didn't see last night. Number one injector, there was a lot of exhaust gases coming up past the injector, so we need to replace the copper washer in the bottom of there as well. So that's another problem we found. So like I said last night, we're going to pull off the rocker cover, see what's happening in there, check the valves, check the springs, because we're running out of options now. Well, there's nothing immediately wrong, so nothing is broken. Can't see any broken springs. We'll have to check our clearances. Right, so now here we are. We have made it into Vintage Thursday headquarters. We couldn't work out an easy, cheap fix. So we're going to go into it a little bit deeper. But we're going to end the video here for today. Start a new one as we get into investigating a bit deeper. So don't forget to subscribe and come back and watch that. And I will say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.